Act 3 of The Duchess of Malfi. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org.
The Duchess of Malfi by John Webster. Act 3, Scene 1. Enter Antonio and Delio.
Our noble friend, my most beloved Delio. Oh, you have been a stranger long at court. Came you along with the Lord Ferdinand?
I did, sir. And how fares your noble Duchess?
Right fortunately well. She's an excellent feeder of pedigrees. Since you last saw her, she hath had 2 children more, a son and daughter.
Methinks 'twas yesterday. Let me but wink, and not behold your face, which to mine eye is somewhat leaner, verily I should dream it were within this half hour.
You have not been in law, friend Delio, nor in prison, nor a suitor at the court, nor begged the reversion of some great man's place, nor troubled with an old wife, which doth make your time so insensibly hasten.
Pray, sir, tell me, hath not this news arrived yet to the ear of the Lord Cardinal?
I fear it hath. The Lord Ferdinand, that's newly come to court, doth bear himself right dangerously.
Pray, why?
He is so quiet that he seems to sleep the tempest out, as dormice do in winter. Those houses that are haunted are most still, till the devil be up.
What say the common people?
The common rabble do directly say she is a strumpet.
And your graver heads, which would be politic, what censure they?
They do observe I grow to infinite purchase the left-hand way, and all suppose the Duchess would amend it if she could. For, say they, great princes, though they grudge their officers should have such large and unconfined means to get wealth under them, will not complain, lest thereby they should make them odious unto the people. For other obligation of love or marriage between her and me they never dream of.
The Lord Ferdinand is going to bed.
Enter Duchess, Ferdinand, and attendants.
Oh, instantly to bed, for I am weary. I am to bespeak a husband for you.
For me, sir? Pray, who is't?
The great Count Malatesti.
Oh, fie upon him! A count! He's a mere stick of sugar candy. You may look quite through him. When I choose a husband, I will marry for your honour.
You shall do well in't. How is't, worthy Antonio?
But, sir, I am to have private conference with you about a scandalous report is spread touching mine honour.
Let me be ever deaf to it. One of Pasquil's paper bullets, court calumny, a pestilent air which princes' palaces are seldom purged of. Yet say that it were true, I pour it in your bosom, my fixed love would strongly excuse, extenuate, nay, deny faults, were they apparent in you. Go, be safe in your own innocency.
Aside.
O blessed comfort! This deadly air is purged.
Exeunt Duchess, Antonio, Delio, and attendants.
Her guilt treads on hot-burning coulters.
Enter Bosola.
Now, Bosola, how thrives our intelligence?
Sir, uncertainly. 'Tis rumoured she hath had 3 bastards, but by whom we may go read in the stars.
Why, some hold opinion all things are written there.
Yes, if we could find spectacles to read them. I do suspect there has been some sorcery used on the Duchess.
Sorcery? To what purpose?
To make her dote on some desertless fellow she shames to acknowledge.
Can your faith give way to think there's power in potions or in charms to make us love whether we will or no?
Oh, certainly.
Away! These are mere gulleries, horrid things, invented by some cheating mountebanks to abuse us. Do you think that herbs or charms can force the will? Some trials have been made in this foolish practice, but the ingredients were lenitive poisons, such as are of force to make the patient mad, and straight the witch swears by equivocation they are in love. The witchcraft lies in her rank blood. This night I will force confession from her. You told me you had got within these 2 days a false key into her bedchamber.
I have.
As I would wish.
What do you intend to do?
Can you guess?
No?
Do not ask, then. He that can compass me and know my drifts may say he hath put a girdle about the world and sounded all her quicksands.
I do not think so.
What do you think, then, pray?
That you are your own chronicle too much, and grossly flatter yourself.
Give me thy hand. I thank thee. I never gave pension but to flatterers till I entertained thee. Farewell. That friend a great man's ruin strongly checks, who rails into his belief all his defects.
Exeunt. Scene 2. Enter Duchess, Antonio, and Cariola.
Bring me the casket hither, and the glass. You get no lodging here to-night, my lord.
Indeed, I must persuade one.
Very good. I hope in time 'twill grow into a custom, that noblemen shall come with cap and knee to purchase a night's lodging of their wives.
I must lie here.
Must? You are a lord of misrule.
Indeed, my rule is only in the night.
I'll stop your mouth.
Kisses him.
Nay, that's but one. Venus had 2 soft doves to draw her chariot. I must have another.
She kisses him again.
When wilt thou marry, Cariola?
Never, my lord.
Oh, fie upon this single life! Forego it. We read how Daphne, for her peevish flight, became a fruitless bay-tree. Syrinx turned to the pale empty reed. Anaxarete was frozen into marble. Whereas those which married or proved kind unto their friends were by a gracious influence transhaped into the olive, pomegranate, mulberry, became flowers, precious stones, or eminent stars.
This is a vain poetry. But I pray you tell me, if there were proposed me wisdom, riches, and beauty in 3 several young men, which should I choose?
'Tis a hard question. This was Paris' case, and he was blind in't. And there was a great cause, for how was't possible he could judge right, having 3 amorous goddesses in view, and they stark naked? 'Twas a motion were able to benight the apprehension of the severest counsellor of Europe. Now I look on both your faces so well formed, it puts me in mind of a question I would ask.
What is't?
I do wonder why hard-favoured ladies, for the most part, keep worse-favoured waiting-women to attend them, and cannot endure fair ones.
Oh, that is soon answered. Did you ever in your life know an ill painter desire to have his dwelling next door to the shop of an excellent picture-maker? 'Twould disgrace his face-making, and undo him. I prithee, when were we so merry? My hair tangles.
Pray thee, Cariola, let's steal forth the room, and let her talk to herself. I have divers times served her the like, when she hath chafed extremely. I love to see her angry. Softly, Cariola.
Exeunt. Antonio and Cariola.
Doth not the colour of my hair gin to change? When I wax grey, I shall have all the court powder their hair with arras, to be like me. You have cause to love me. I entered you into my heart.
Enter Ferdinand, unseen.
Before you would vouchsafe to call for the keys. We shall one day have my brothers take you napping. Methinks his presence, being now in court, should make you keep your own bed. But you'll say love mixed with fear is sweetest. I'll assure you, you shall get no more children till my brothers consent to be your gossips. Have you lost your tongue? 'Tis welcome. For know, whether I am doomed to live or die, I can do both like a prince.
Die then, quickly!
Giving her a poniard.
Virtue, where art thou hid? What hideous thing is it that doth eclipse thee?
Oh, pray, sir, hear me.
Or is it true thou art but a bare name, and no essential thing?
Sir!
Do not speak!
No, sir, I will plant my soul in mine ears to hear you.
O most imperfect light of human reason, that makes us so unhappy to foresee what we can least prevent! Pursue thy wishes and glory in them. There's in shame no comfort, but to be past all bounds and sense of shame.
I pray, sir, hear me. I am married.
So!
Happily. Not to your liking. But for that, alas, your shears do come untimely now to clip the bird's wings that's already flown. Will you see my husband?
Yes, if I could change eyes with a basilisk.
Sure you came hither by his confederacy?
The howling of a wolf is music to thee, screech owl. Prithee, peace! Whate'er thou art that hast enjoyed my sister, for I am sure thou hear'st me, for thine own sake let me not know thee. I came hither prepared to work thy discovery, yet am now persuaded it would beget such violent effects as would damn us both. I would not for 10 millions I had beheld thee. Therefore use all means I never may have knowledge of thy name. Enjoy thy lust still, and a wretched life on that condition. And for thee, vile woman, if thou do wish thy lecher may grow old in thy embracements, I would have thee build such a room for him as our anchorites to holier use inhabit. Let not the sun shine on him till he's dead. Let dogs and monkeys only converse with him, and such dumb things to whom nature denies use to sound his name. Do not keep a parakeeto, lest she learn it. If thou do love him, cut out thine own tongue, lest it bewray him.
Why might I not marry? I have not gone about in this to create any new world or custom.
Thou art undone, and thou hast ta'en that massy sheet of lead that hid thy husband's bones, and folded it about my heart.
Mine bleeds for't.
Thine? Thy heart? What should I name't, unless a hollow bullet filled with unquenchable wildfire?
You are in this too strict, and were you not my princely brother, I would say too wilful. My reputation is safe.
Dost thou know what reputation is? I'll tell thee to some small purpose, since the instruction comes now too late. Upon a time, reputation, love, and death would travel o'er the world, and it was concluded that they should part and take 3 several ways. Death told them they should find him in great battles, or cities plagued with plagues. Love gives them counsel to inquire for him mongst unambitious shepherds, where dowries were not talked of, and sometimes mongst quiet kindred that had nothing left by their dead parents. Stay, quoth reputation, do not forsake me, for it is my nature, if once I part from any man I meet, I am never found again. And so for you, you have shook hands with reputation, and made him invisible. So fare you well, I will never see you more.
Why should only I, of all the other princes of the world, be cased up like a holy relic? I have youth, and a little beauty.
So you have some virgins that are witches. I'll never see thee more.
Exit. Re-enter Antonio with a pistol. And Carraiola.
You saw this apparition.
Yes, we are betrayed. How came he hither? I should turn this to thee for that.
Pray, sir, do. And when that you have cleft my heart, you shall read there mine innocence.
That gallery gave him entrance.
I would this terrible thing would come again, that standing on my guard I might relate my warrantable love.
She shows the poniard.
Ah, what means this?
He left this with me.
And it seems did wish you would use it on yourself.
His action seemed to intend so much.
This hath a handle to it as well as a point. Turn it towards him, and so fasten the keen edge in his rank gall.
Knocking within.
How now? Who knocks? More earthquakes.
I stand as if a mine beneath my feet were ready to be blown up.
'Tis Bosola.
Away! Oh, misery! Methinks unjust actions should wear these masks and curtains, and not we. You must instantly part hence. I have fashioned it already.
Exit Antonio. Enter Bosola.
The Duke, your brother, is ta'en up in a whirlwind, hath took horse, and rid post to Rome.
So late?
He told me, as he mounted into the saddle, you were undone.
Indeed, I am very near it.
What's the matter?
Antonio, the master of our household, hath dealt so falsely with me in 's accounts. My brother stood engaged with me for money, ta'en up of certain Neapolitan Jews, and Antonio lets the bonds be forfeit.
Strange.
Aside.
This is cunning.
And hereupon my brother's bills at Naples are protested against. Call up our officers.
I shall.
Exit. Re-enter Antonio.
The place that you must fly to is Ancona. Hire a house there. I'll send after you my treasure and my jewels. Our weak safety runs upon enginous wheels. Short syllables must stand for periods. I must now accuse you of such a feigned crime as Tasso calls magnanima menzogna, a noble lie, cause it must shield our honours. Hark, they are coming.
Re-enter Bosola and officers.
Will your grace hear me?
I have got well by you. You have yielded me 1,000,000 of loss. I am like to inherit the people's curses for your stewardship. You had the trick in audit time to be sick, till I had signed your quietus, and that cured you without help of a doctor. Gentlemen, I would have this man be an example to you all. So shall you hold my favour. I pray, let him, for has done that, alas, you would not think of, and because I intend to be rid of him, I mean not to publish. Use your fortune elsewhere.
I am strongly armed to brook my overthrow, as commonly men bear with a hard year. I will not blame the cause on't, but do think the necessity of my malevolent star procures this, not her humour. Oh, the inconstant and rotten ground of service! You may see 'tis even like him that in a winter night takes a long slumber or a dying fire, a-loath to part from't, yet parts thence as cold as when he first sat down.
We do confiscate, towards the satisfying of your accounts, all that you have.
I am all yours, and 'tis very fit all mine should be so.
So, sir, you have your pass.
You may see, gentlemen, what 'tis to serve a prince with body and soul.
Exit.
Here's an example for extortion. What moisture is drawn out of the sea, when foul weather comes, pours down and runs into the sea again.
I would know what are your opinions of this Antonio.
He could not abide to see a pig's head gaping. I thought your grace would find him a Jew.
Would you had been his officer, for your own sake?
You would have had more money.
He stopped his ears with black wool, and to those came to him for money said he was thick of hearing.
Some said he was an hermaphrodite, for he could not abide a woman.
How scurvy proud he would look when the treasury was full. Well, let him go.
Yes, and the chippings of the buttery fly after him to scour his gold chain.
Leave us.
Excellent officers.
What do you think of these?
That these are rogues, that in his prosperity, but to have waited on his fortune, could have wished his dirty stirrup riveted through their noses, and followed after his mule like a bear in a ring, would have prostituted their daughters to his lust, made their firstborn intelligencers, thought none happy but such as were born under his blessed planet, and wore his livery. And do these lice drop off now? Well, never look to have the like again. He hath left a sort of flattering rogues behind him. Their doom must follow. Princes pay flatterers in their own money. Flatterers dissemble their vices, and they dissemble their lies. That's justice. Alas, poor gentleman.
Poor? He hath amply filled his coffers.
Sure, he was too honest. Pluto, the god of riches, when he's sent by Jupiter to any man, he goes limping, to signify that wealth that comes on God's name comes slowly. But when he's sent on the devil's errand, he rides post and comes in by scuttles. Let me show you what a most unvalued jewel you have in a wanton humour thrown away, to bless the man shall find him. He was an excellent courtier, and most faithful. A soldier that thought it as beastly to know his own value too little, as devilish to acknowledge it too much. Both his virtue and form deserved a far better fortune. His discourse rather delighted to judge itself than show itself. His breast was filled with all perfection, and yet it seemed a private whispering room, it made so little noise of it.
But he was basely descended.
Will you make yourself a mercenary herald, rather to examine men's pedigrees than virtues? You shall want him, for know, an honest statesman to a prince is like a cedar planted by a spring. The spring bathes the tree's root, the grateful tree rewards it with his shadow. You have not done so. I would rather swim to the Bermudas on two politicians' rotten bladders tied together with an intelligence's heartstring, than depend on so changeable a prince's favour. Fare thee well, Antonio. Since the malice of the world would needs down with thee, it cannot be said yet that any ill happened unto thee, considering thy fall was accompanied with virtue.
Oh, you render me excellent music.
Say you?
This good one that you speak of is my husband.
Do I not dream? Can this ambitious age have so much goodness in it, as to prefer a man merely for worth, without these shadows of wealth and painted honours? Possible?
I have had 3 children by him.
Fortunate lady! For you have made your private nuptial bed the humble and fair seminary of peace, no question but. Many an unbeneficed scholar shall pray for you for this deed, and rejoice that some preferment in the world can yet arise from merit. The virgins of your land that have no dowries shall hope your example will raise them to rich husbands. Should you want soldiers, 'twould make the very Turks and Moors turn Christians and serve you for this act. Last, the neglected poets of your time, in honour of this trophy of a man, raised by that curious engine your white hand, shall thank you in your grave for it, and make that more reverend than all the cabinets of living princes. For Antonio, his fame shall likewise flow from many a pen, when heralds shall want coats to sell to men.
As I taste comfort in this friendly speech, so would I find concealment.
Oh, the secret of my prince, which I will wear on the inside of my heart.
You shall take charge of all my coin and jewels, and follow him, for he retires himself to Ancona.
So?
Whither within few days I mean to follow thee.
Let me think. I would wish your grace to feign a pilgrimage to Our Lady of Loreto, scarce 7 leagues from fair Ancona. So may you depart your country with more honour, and your flight will seem a princely progress, retaining your usual train about you.
Sir, your direction shall lead me by the hand.
In my opinion, she were better progress to the baths at Lucca, or go visit the spa in Germany. For if you will believe me, I do not like this jesting with religion, this feigned pilgrimage.
Thou art a superstitious fool. Prepare us instantly for our departure. Past sorrows, let us moderately lament them, for those to come seek wisely to prevent them.
Exeunt Duchess and Cariola.
A politician is the devil's quilted anvil. He fashions all sins on him, and the blows are never heard. He may work in a lady's chamber, as here for proof. What rests but I reveal all to my lord? Oh, this base quality of intelligencer! Why, every quality in the world prefers but gain or commendation. Now, for this act, I am certain to be raised, and men that paint weeds to the life are praised.
Exit. Scene 3. Enter Cardinal, Ferdinand, Malateste, Pescara, Delio, and Silvio.
Must we turn soldier, then?
The Emperor, hearing your worth that way, ere you attain this reverend garment, joins you in commission with the right fortunate soldier, the Marquis of Pescara, and the famous Lannoy.
He that had the honour of taking the French king prisoner?
The same. Here's a plot drawn for our new fortification at Naples.
This great Count Malatesti, I perceive, hath got employment.
No employment, my lord. A marginal note in the muster-book that he is a voluntary lord.
He's no soldier.
He has worn gunpowder in his hollow tooth for the toothache.
He comes to the Liga with a full intent to eat fresh beef and garlic, means to stay till the scent be gone, and straight return to court.
He hath read all the late service as the City Chronicle relates it, and keeps 2 pewterers going, only to express battles in model.
Then he'll fight by the book.
By the almanac, I think, to choose good days, and shun the critical. That's his mistress's scarf.
Yes, he protests he would do much for that taffeta.
I think he would run away from a battle to save it from taking prisoner.
He is horribly afraid gunpowder will spoil the perfume on it.
I saw a Dutchman break his pate once for calling him a pot-gun. He made his head have a bore in like a musket.
I would he had made a touch-hole to it. He is indeed a guarded sumpter-cloth, only for the remove of the court.
Enter Bosola.
Bosola arrived. What should be the business? Some falling out amongst the cardinals. These factions amongst great men, they are like foxes. When their heads are divided, they carry fire in their tails, and all the country about them goes to wrack for it.
What's that, Bosola?
I knew him in Padua, a fantastical scholar, like such as study to know how many knots was in Hercules's club, of what colour Achilles' beard was, or whether Hector were not troubled with the toothache. He hath studied himself half blear-eyed to know the true symmetry of Caesar's nose by a shoeing horn, and this he did to gain the name of a speculative man.
Mark, Prince Ferdinand, a very salamander lives in's eye, to mock the eager violence of fire.
That Cardinal hath made more bad faces with his oppression than ever Michelangelo made good ones. He lifts up snows like a foul porpoise before a storm.
The Lord Ferdinand laughs.
Like a deadly cannon that lightens ere it smokes.
These are your true pangs of death, the pangs of life that struggle with great statesmen.
In such a deformed silence, witches whisper their charms.
Doth she make religion her riding hood to keep her from the sun and tempest?
That damns her. Methinks her fault and beauty blended together show like leprosy, the whiter, the fouler. I make it a question whether her beggarly brats were ever christened.
I will instantly solicit the state of Ancona to have them banished.
You're for Loretto? I shall not be at your ceremony. Fare you well. Write to the Duke of Malfi, my young nephew she had by her first husband, and acquaint him with mother's honesty.
I will.
Antonio, a slave that only smelled of ink and counters, and never in his life looked like a gentleman but in the audit time. Go presently. Draw me out 150 of our horse, and meet me at the fort bridge.
Exeunt. Scene 4. Enter 2 pilgrims to the shrine of Our Lady of Loretto.
I have not seen a goodlier shrine than this, yet I have visited many.
The Cardinal of Aragon is this day to resign his cardinal's hat. His sister Duchess likewise is arrived to pay her vow of pilgrimage. I expect a noble ceremony.
No question, they come.
Here the ceremony of the cardinal's installment, in the habit of a soldier, performed in delivering up his cross, hat, robes, and ring, at the shrine, and investing him with sword, helmet, shield, and spurs. Then Antonio, the Duchess, and their children, having presented themselves at the shrine, are, by a form of banishment in dumb show expressed towards them by the cardinal, in the state of Ancona, banished. During all which ceremony this ditty is sung, to very solemn music, by divers churchmen. And then exeunt all except the 2 pilgrims.
Arms and honors deck thy story, to thy fame's eternal glory. Adverse fortune ever fly thee, no disastrous fate come nigh thee. I alone will sing thy praises, whom to honor virtue raises, and thy study, that divine is, bent to martial discipline is. Lay aside all those robes lie by thee, crown thy arts with arms, they'll beautify thee. O worthy of worthiest name, adorned in this manner, lead bravely thy forces on, under war's warlike banner. O mayst thou prove fortunate in all martial courses, guide thou still by skill in arts and forces. Victory attend thee nigh, whilst fame sings loud thy powers. Triumphant conquest crown thy head, and blessings pour down showers.
Here's a strange turn of state. Who would have thought so great a lady would have matched herself unto so mean a person? Yet the Cardinal bears himself much too cruel.
They are banished.
But I would ask what power hath this state of Ancona to determine of a free prince?
They are a free state, sir, and her brother showed how that the Pope, forehearing of her looseness, hath seized into the protection of the Church the dukedom which she held as dowager.
But by what justice?
Sure, I think, by none, only her brother's instigation.
What was it with such violence he took off from her finger?
'Twas her wedding ring, which he vowed shortly he would sacrifice to his revenge.
Alas, Antonio, if that a man be thrust into a well, no matter who sets hand to it, his own weight will bring him sooner to the bottom. Come, let's hence. Fortune makes this conclusion general. All things do help the unhappy man to fall.
Excellent. Scene 5. Enter Duchess, Antonio, children, Carraiola, and servants.
Banished Ancona!
Yes, you see what power lightens in great men's breath.
Is all our train shrunk to this poor remainder?
These poor men which have got little in your service vow to take your fortune, but your wiser buntings, now they are fledged, are gone.
They have done wisely. This puts me in mind of death. Physicians thus, with their hands full of money, used to give o'er their patients.
Right the fashion of the world, from decayed fortunes every flatterer shrinks. Men cease to build where the foundation sinks.
I had a very strange dream to-night.
What was't?
Methought I wore my coronet of state, and on a sudden all the diamonds were changed to pearls.
My interpretation is you'll weep shortly, for to me the pearls do signify your tears.
The birds that live i' the field on the wild benefit of nature live happier than we, for they may choose their mates, and carol their sweet pleasures to the spring.
Enter Bosola with a letter.
You are happily Hoatain.
From my brother?
Yes, from the Lord Ferdinand your brother, all love and safety.
Thou dost blanch mischief, wouldst make it white. See, like to calm weather at sea before a tempest, false hearts speak fair to those they intend most mischief.
Reads.
Send Antonio to me, I want his head in a business. A politic equivocation. He doth not want your counsel, but your head. That is, he cannot sleep till you be dead. And here's another pitfall that's strewed o'er with roses. Mark it, 'tis a cunning one.
Reads.
I stand engaged for your husband for several debts at Naples. Let not that trouble him. I had rather have his heart than his money. And I believe so too.
What do you believe?
That he so much distrusts my husband's love, he will by no means believe his heart is with him until he see it. The devil is not cunning enough to circumvent us in riddles.
Will you reject that noble and free league of amity and love, which I present you?
Their league is like that of some politic kings, only to make themselves of strength and power to be our after-ruin. Tell them so.
What from you?
Thus tell him, I will not come.
And what of this?
My brothers have dispersed bloodhounds abroad, which till I hear are muzzled, no truce, though hatched with ne'er such politic skill, is safe that hangs upon our enemies' will. I'll not come at them.
This proclaims your breeding. For every small thing draws a base mind to fear, as the adamant draws iron. Fare you well, sir. You shall shortly hear from us.
Exit.
I suspect some ambush. Therefore by all my love I do conjure you to take your eldest son and fly towards Milan. Let us not venture all this poor remainder in one unlucky bottom.
You counsel safely. Best of my life, farewell. Since we must part, heaven hath a hand in't. but no otherwise than as some curious artist takes in sunder a clock or watch when it is out of frame, to bring't in better order.
I know not which is best, to see you dead, or part with you. Farewell, boy. Thou art happy that thou hast not understanding to know thy misery, for all our wit and reading brings us to a truer sense of sorrow. In the eternal church, sir, I do hope we shall not part thus.
Oh, be of comfort, make patience a noble fortitude, and think not how unkindly we are used. Man, like to Cassia, is proved best, being bruised.
Must I, like to slave-born Russian, account it praise to suffer tyranny? And yet, O heaven, thy heavy hand is in't. I have seen my little boy oft scourge his top, and compared myself to it. Naught made me e'er go right but heaven's scourge-stick.
Do not weep. Heaven fashioned us of nothing, and we strive to bring ourselves to nothing. Farewell, Cariola, and thy sweet armful. If I do never see thee more, be a good mother to your little ones, and save them from the tiger. Fare you well.
Let me look upon you once more, for that speech came from a dying father. Your kiss is colder than that I have seen an holy anchorite give to a dead man's skull.
My heart is turned to a heavy lump of lead, with which I sound my danger. Fare you well.
Exeunt Antonio and his son.
My laurel is all withered.
Look, madam, what a troop of armed men make toward us.
Re-enter Bosola, besarded, with a guard.
Oh, they are very welcome. When fortune's wheel is overcharged with princes, the weight makes it move swift. I would have my ruin be sudden. I am your adventure, am I not?
You are. You must see your husband no more.
What devil art thou that counterfeit'st heaven's thunder?
Is that terrible? I would have you tell me whether. Is that note worse that frights the silly birds out of the corn, or that which does allure them to the nets? You have hearkened to the last too much.
O misery! Like to a rusty o'ercharged cannon, shall I never fly in pieces? Come, to what prison?
To none.
Whither then?
To your palace.
I have heard that Charon's boat serves to convey all o'er the dismal lake, but brings none back again.
Your brothers mean you safety and pity.
Pity? With such a pity men preserve alive pheasants and quails, when they are not fat enough to be eaten.
These are your children?
Yes.
Can they prattle?
No. But I intend, since they were born accursed, curses shall be their first language.
Fie, madam. Forget this base low fellow.
Were I a man, I'd beat that counterfeit face into thy other.
One of no birth.
Say that he was born mean. Man is most happy when's own actions be arguments and examples of his virtue.
A barren, beggarly virtue.
I prithee, who is greatest? Can you tell? Sad tales befit my woe, I'll tell you one. A salmon, as she swam unto the sea, met with a dogfish, who encounters her with this rough language: Why art thou so bold to mix thyself with our high state of floods, being no eminent courtier, but one that for the calmest and fresh time of the year dost live in shallow rivers, rank'st thyself with silly smelts and shrimps? And darest thou pass by our dog-ship without reverence? Oh, quoth the salmon, sister, be at peace. Thank Jupiter we both have passed the net. Our value never can be truly known, till in the fisher's basket we be shown. I' the market, then, my price may be the higher, even when I am nearest to the cook and fire. So to great men the moral may be stretched. Men oft are valued high when they're most wretched. But come, whither you please. I am armed 'gainst misery, bent to all sways of the oppressor's will. There's no deep valley but near some great hill.
Excellent. End of Act 3.